Orchard one, nothing new we shipped, nobody complained. So either there are no issues or nobody is using the update. Whatever. No issues, that's good. Orchard core, updating everything, or I can just pull. Okay. So what's new here? Lots of stuff. 7 days, what do we have? This is a PR. This is a PR. Content permission. Implementing content type permission 6 days ago, which means it's newer than the last meeting. I think so. Yep. So this is just that. Now you can actually use content type permissions, which means we can define secure types instead of giving access to everything or nothing. It's just per type, and also per with ownership or not. Okay, and in the UI it's easy. You just remove the permission to edit everything, and you then select which types a specific role has access to. Creating a new content is handled by providing edit own permission. So if you want users to be able to create new pages, you just give them edit own page. Okay, and this way they will be able to create a new page. But just a draft, if you want them to be able to publish them, you also need to provide publish own. And if you want people to publish anything, just publish anything. Okay, make sense? When we are in the code, however, when you want to test for permission, you don't ask for the own permission. You test for the publish one, because then we will check automatically if you can do the same thing for your own items and if you own the items. There is only one case where we do that. It's for testing for the creation of an item, which must be here. Nope, not even that. Perfect. We just check for can the user edit the content. And yeah, that's good. And for new items, we said the owner is the one that is currently authenticated. Sorry. Wow. Improve dynamic cache performance. Because preventing one lookup in this case, and also this code path, which was just duplicating an HTML string, is now removed. So it can just reuse the same HTML string. So that's good. And here I just refactored this code to use properties instead of fields. They are unnecessary, but it improved performance significantly, because in this case where it was duplicating the string, it was the most common case where it has to render a shape, and it was re-rendering it. Reverting a breaking change from workflow. Replaces existing arrays when updating content item via scripts. Merging issues with JSON documents. When we do update content item method in a script. Defining menu parts. This is to actually describe the parts as available. They were used but not declared in the system, so you will not see them in the list of available parts. Now it's working, and it also has a description. Fix get not returning changes made by apply. Good catch. So the idea is that when you apply a part, and it had already a part, your part will be lost. So now it's replacing the existing part with the one you passed. And this contributor, Paul Epitome, added a new unit test, which is great. And I didn't see that this is not formatted correctly. My bad. Updating fluid, and I think twice. This one was fixing a bug, and the other one was fixing another bug, and I think both of them related to concurrency, while the last one is also adding some perf improvements. Fixing MVC templates because why? Because it didn't work first, it was missing that, and probably to simplify them. Oh no, because yeah, Matthias and I worked on some guides. Is that a new thing? I think it's a new thing. No, it's not a new thing. There was the section we created, but here's a new guide, and you will see more of them as we go over the dev branch here. So this one is a guide to create a new modular application. Let me show you what it looks like. It's the best thing ever in the documentation we've made so far, apart from the documentation itself that Antoine made. But if we look at the dev branch here, what's new, very important here. So about Outro.core, blah blah blah, what it is, how to build things. Then getting started, create a CMS web application, create a theme. But these will probably be merged with guides here, because in the guides, the idea of the guides page is that we have a list of either getting started guides or tutorials. Guides being quick reference documents, well, quick tutorials, and this one more complex tutorials. So here now we have two sections, one for generic ASP.NET apps and one for CMS guides. So we have creating a modular ASP.NET Core application, which takes you from you need the .NET Core SDK to here is how to install the project templates. If you want to use dev branch, don't forget this parameter. Then run .NET New OCMVC to create a new app, a new module, reference the module from the web app, and then how to run the app. Again, if you use the dev branch, you can do a .NET Restore with this feed before. It shows that it's running on this port, then it tells you click on this link to run it locally, and you will see that if you go on this URL, you will find the view, and then it shows you how to create a custom route, for instance, for the home page that targets this module, and then that's it. So you created a web app and a module with a view by following this little guide. So super easy, but super powerful. Then we have a guide for running code on startup. It was the first guide that Matthias made. So this is for any ASP.NET app, not just a CMS. It shows you how to implement the iModular, there is a typo, modules.iModular tenant events. And you can implement this class, which is a base class, and then how to register the service, and that's it. There is one to create a new CMS site based on the templates. So same thing as before with ASP.NET 1, but using the CMS template. And then Matthias added some screenshots for the. Here you are on the setup screen. Just select blog and SQLite, and you should see the blog. Okay. And the last one is adding a menu item to the admin navigation. I don't know why, but Matthias likes the guides which are more uncommon. But I assume it's based on his experience. When he finds something he needs to do, then create the documentation for that. See here how to create. So the idea for this one is creating a CMS site and creating a navigation provider and two views to integrate some menu items in the admin dynamic, well, from a module. Cool. And there will be more, and feel free to create more of them. The ones that we are missing, what is that? We might want to create a core CMS website without the project templates, just creating a new project from Visual Studio and referencing the CMS package and calling add orchard core and use orchard core CMS. I don't remember which ones we talked about. Oh, there is one I want to create. Antoine gave me instructions already to configure localization for a specific language, like download, where to download the file, where to place them, and how to configure them. So that's a nice small guide that will be super useful. All these things that are not for reference documentations, like we have for all the modules here. And though we can reference the reference documentation from the guides. A big one we will want is how to build a website from a web template, okay? Or these things that I did from YouTube videos. If you want to work on that, feel free to do so. No questions? Good. Applying documentation feedback. So lots of documentation commits here. Guides, documentation index, guides, fixing fluid concurrency again, and new guide. And this one, because we were adding guide changes all the time, it was building and redeploying new guide packages every time because of CI. So with this commit on Travis, we say if you can't find any change that is not in an MD file or mkdocs or the docs folder, then ignore the build, because there is nothing to build. It's just the documentation that has been updated. Same thing for Abeyor, but differently. And in this case, we just say skip anything that is not in an MD file or YAML file, mkdocs, sorry, or docs folder. Okay, and with a fix here, because it was missing the single quotes, because it was starting with a star. So this way, let me show you an example, because we got an example this morning from Jeff. So if I go on Orchard Core, I look at PRs, and I look at closed PRs, this one. So Jeff made a change to this documentation file, this README file, okay, and we don't need to republish the packages for that. At least I don't think so. Even if it's a README, we might want to change it later, but so far it's good. So here, if I look at the checks, can I just see the checks? View details. Yes, there were two checks. You see the Abeyor one doesn't appear because it was skipped automatically. This one is not skipped. It's just part of one step. It's one step in the CI that will detect that there was no changes, and it will do nothing. You see, 18 seconds, 40 seconds. So if I look at this one and the log, we should see that not running CI since only docs were changed. Sorry. So that works well, which means we can. It will be faster when we do just code documentation changes, and we can do the same thing on master also, because we won't have to deploy new packages on master. We can just update the documentation. It's kind of scary, but we should try it at some point. Yes. I was thinking also we might want to have a single branch for the documentation. My concern being that today we have master, well, we have latest and not latest. If I go, I never know how to go back to the here. How do I get to the little tab here? Here, got it. So you see here we have latest dev. And usually most of the content is on dev and not on latest, but the default is latest, so people are confused with that. So maybe we will just want just one, which is from the dev branch. And we could just mention when something is new for a specific version that it applies for this version and not for the master version. Otherwise, we might have issues when we try to merge master and dev related to documentation. If we want to add a new article, for instance, a new guide, and it applies for the current master branch, if we do it in the dev branch, then it won't be visible, but if we do it in the master branch, then we might have lots of conflicts once we do with the new stuff in the dev branch. So I think we should have a single one, even if we need to mention when it's special to a specific version, that it will just work with RC or whatever. That might simplify the things. Just thinking out loud. Then Alexander Bosharov made a PR to do things on the CI and apparently triggered a master branch CI build. So this is updating the new Docker images from the new container, the new repository for Docker images. This is on the dev branch. Then he forked, and I didn't see yet the PR, so I haven't looked at the changes so far. So I don't know what it is about. We'll see later. Add Google module documentation to talk, fix Facebook and Twitter documentation. Okay. Fixing a route. Otherwise there will be a 404. Missing description and name in manifest. Some modules that were missing the name property. Adding SVG in allowed media types because it's common to upload SVG files and right now it's blocked. Okay, so now by default you can upload SVG. Added screenshot to create CMS guides. We saw the guide from Matthias. Add Crowdin page to localization page, so a link to Crowdin so you can find where to download the PO files. Good catch, because yesterday Hisham asked us where to find the files. Add the return URL, so when you click on cancel and you are editing a field or a part, then it goes back to the correct place. This is a doc change from Jeff, and this one, Antoine fixing a CodeMirror issue. If you have a widget with a liquid editor or any CodeMirror editor, and you expand the widget, then the margin will be wrong. It will overflow with the text, so this is a fix for that. I haven't tried it, I will trust Antoine with that. I was able to report the issue at least. And that's it. Antoine has a PR that lists all the features we have, and the changes here are that we want to show features for people who don't know Orchard and want to know, does it do this thing? So for instance, name parts, people don't care, they don't know what it is. Recipe migrations, they have no idea, it's just an implementation detail. But do we support CDN? Do we support, I don't know, theming? You see, alternates, for instance, yeah, it's still specific, but we'll work on the list. And if it's shipped or if it will be shipped eventually, and when. So that looks good. I think personally that we might not care about showing when it was shipped. We should just say it works, unless if it's a version that is not shipped yet, or it's currently being developed. That's great, because people will be able to know if something is done or not in Orchard, instead of having to either figure it out or imagine that it's not implemented because nowhere they can't find documentation or something like that. And I don't know, what is mass upload, Antoine? I don't know what it is. Drag and drop multiple files?
Yeah, in assets, in media library.
So okay, drag and drop multiple files. Okay. Modules, support and management. It's kind of weird. but we'll work on that. That's good. Already a good list, logging, indexing, great. Thank you. Questions on the changes? Anything? Some PRs? So many things are not merged because they will be done after beta 3. Issues. Since this morning, there should not be any more issue. For beta 3, boom, again, ZBB, zero bug bounce. The two issues that were fixed this morning were the CodeMirror fix from Antoine and a migration from beta 2 to beta 3 from someone that was facing an issue with Fluid, which was fixed 2 days ago, and also how to use the file content types, the file content types, file-based content types. So we are good to ship beta 3. We updated the guides. I don't think anything else is blocking unless you know anything that is blocking. What do you know that would prevent us from shipping beta 3? Feel free to answer like nothing or something. Or you don't know. Yes, there is one issue that Jean-Philippe and another guy found and mentioned on Gitter that is related to warnings with view imports and also references. Matthias, you should look also at the chat on Gitter. They're mentioning that since yesterday they have to reference a library to be able to build a project or something like that. The same way you had to reference admin, though you should not have to in the guide. So we have to maybe look into it before just try to repro or say no, it's fine. I think someone said they will provide a repro to see if we can have the same issue. We tried the guides, they work fine from the NuGet packages, so I think we are good to merge on master once we have checked this last little issue. That might not be an issue. That's it. Do we have demos? Do we have demos? Does anyone have demos? Matthias, you have demos? We had a PR at some point with the media. Jean-Philippe, do you want to show localization? You have a PR now? Or is it not working and there is nothing to show? Or maybe he's not listening. So we have a PR for localization, work in progress, to be tested and maybe for feedback. So we'll look into that very soon also. Just checking because Antoine made the link. If I go to localization, where is the badge?
You are on the test, yeah.
The badge. So I can just click on the badge now, localize 10%. I don't know what it means. So Antoine created the entries for all the languages we had on Orchard 1. Okay, thank you, Antoine. So now people can start translating without asking us to create the entry. This should be sufficient. Isham Benatia started the translation for Arik, making some progress. I was refreshing the page and I could see the progress growing. So the next thing is to provide a guide on how to download the files, and I think it should be super easy here. Download, and then where to extract this file. So this file should be organized here by module, and you can put it in the localization folder in the app data, and then how to enable the language, and it should be picked up. Yes, and eventually we'll have some NuGet package that will contain this list of files as the content folder, so that when you reference the package, these files will be placed automatically in the correct location. So you will just have to reference a NuGet package to have that. Or maybe a feature to download the files directly from Crowdin. I assume it's doable. We don't have to be authenticated to download the files, so we might be able to do that, right? That might be easy too. Cool. Questions? No demos? What else? Beta 3 almost ready to be shipped. More documentation. Documentation can be done without merging. Antoine, what do you think about just using the dev branch for documentation?
Okay.
So that people will automatically go to the latest documentation, and if something doesn't apply to the current release, we can just put a note. Hi Bertrand, too late, we just finished. So documentation, talking about releasing beta 3. Bertrand, what are we missing to ship beta 3? There is no more issues. We have the documentation that can be released without generating packages. What else? Blog post probably to announce the new things. We have guides to let people know what to do first. Just a reminder for people who were not there at the beginning. We have these guides now, creating a modular ASP.NET Core application. You can just follow the guide. Creating an Orchard Core CMS website. You can just follow the guide. So that's good. That's nice articles, because when we say, oh, there is a new Orchard Core version available, and they are like, what should we do now? Well, just follow the guide and you will see how to set up something, how to build a new app with a module. So very nice. Ideally, we will have a tutorial to build a website with content and something like this, but not yet. So sad. That's it. So we'll have a single now branch for the documentation. So no more confusion, just one link. Do we need a custom domain? Can we have that? Should we? Right now we have that. If I go on orchardproject.net, we have the link to try Orchard. What? Why is it .NET? Because it's still Orchard 1. We don't have a link to. How do we find try Orchard? How do we find it?
Nowhere.
What? No way. Oh my god. Okay. We need to fix it. Nowhere. So if I go on GitHub GitHub. If I go on GitHub, what do we have? Doc failing, localize. So we have the localized URL, we have the documentation here that we have to change. This is the dev branch that is showing up. And you get packages, beta, roadmap, getting started. Getting started. Maybe we should point to the new guides and have that as a guide. We might need, okay, oh yes, some things we miss, I think, is how to deploy that. Because I was deploying Orchard, and I know how to do that, but it was not documented. People might wonder how to do that. We might need a guide to know how to use Docker, for instance, Docker images, how to deploy them. There is some explanation on the page itself, but we might need a guide. I saw a question on the issues, by the way. Contributing documentation is linked here too, so that's good. And there is no link on try. We should have a link there, and a link to the website, which we might have, but I don't see any. Yes, we have that, and we might want to change the site to talk about Orchard Core instead now. How do we do? Do we do another subdomain for Orchard 1, or do we mix the things? I think we should just update this site. But some information is still relevant for Orchard 1.
I made one for orchardcore.fr.
Yeah, but we can't use the .fr. So where is your orchardcore? But we need two websites, or a main one that points to the old one. How did you copy everything? Orchard Core. Also, Orchard Core is not just a CMS. So here is fine. Here it's saying it's a content management system. Maybe you can just fix it with different pages. Yeah. So first we should have one site. It's bad to have many sites. Otherwise, nobody knows what they are looking for, what they are looking at. So we should have just one thing, and then inside the site, talk about the most obvious thing that people will look for, or what we want to advertise, and we can have custom pages for different products like Orchard 1, Orchard CMS version 1, or the modular thing, or the core CMS. And then we can still have a portfolio of things and list the features, but the links will be dependent on which page you are on. But the main point should be global for the project, not... Yeah, okay. So it's nice to have a different thing like this. The issue is that people might find this page and be confused with that one. Like, why is there an orchardcore.fr and an orchardproject.net? So we need to be consistent and have a single point of entry. The same way there is a try.orchardproject.net, which should be linked here by default in the try orchard. and we'll keep the .nest one on the legacy orchard page. Okay, this has to be changed. Other comments?
And for the docs, there is a subdomain.
Mm-hmm. So we can have a subdomain, okay.
The existing one is docs.orchardproject.net for O1.
Yeah, I should reference it also from this page, from the legacy page. Not sure I want to change that for now. We can switch the domain at some point and have another domain for the legacy one and switch the docs.orchardproject.net to this one at some point. But right now we'll keep that. We don't want to do too much work. It will never end otherwise. At least if we can update the site, that will be a minimum, pointing to whatever we have on the documentation or on the GitHub repository. Okay, so I will work on that, probably changing the site first, and then once we're ready, merge into master to do the release. Good. Other questions, comments? Not sure if you're saying something, Antoine. There is a lot of noise.
No.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks everyone. We are done. See you for the triage on Thursday, and expect some changes in the website and potentially a release in the next few days. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.